That's a tough act to follow with Leslie. In the past, I've always spoken without notes, and I started to realize when you get to a certain age, don't try speaking without notes. Dangerous route to take. So I'll use a few notes. I'd rather be spontaneous, but I also would rather not miss the things that I do want to mention. First, I want to thank Leslie. We would not be here tonight if not for Leslie. 8 or 9 months ago when I started thinking, well, maybe we'll do another party. Why not? People seem to have a good time, have a lot of fun, and it's like, okay. And Leslie said, think about the Players Club. And I originally said, nah, this will become a shock to people who know me well. No, let's go back to the place we did last time. But sometimes you got to open your mind and be flexible. And Leslie got me to come down here, and I am so glad I did, because this is just a spectacular venue to be able to be with all of you and to celebrate. And the greatest thing is how meaningful it is to share a celebration with so many people in this room who I've known for 30, 40, 50, in 2 cases, 60 plus years. So, and when you have friendships and relationships that have lasted that long, that's definitely something to cherish. Tonight, among the people here, including me, are 7 family members. I'm thrilled about that, and you'll hear about them in a moment. There are 9 graduates of Shaker Heights High School, including one of our performers who you will meet and hear and watch perform in the next few minutes. There are 12 Columbia graduates here tonight. And I'm so honored and truly touched that there are 17 people, almost a third of the room, who have come in from out of town to be part of this event tonight. And I guess for those of us who drove in and came from New Jersey or Westchester, it was like coming from out of town in this absolutely beautiful weather we have out here tonight. And I am also totally amazed that not one person said, weather is too bad, we're not coming tonight. I almost said it, but no one else did. The other thing as I look around this room is that all of you encompass what's important to me. It starts with family, and as I said, so many of the people here from family. With Shaker, where I grew up, Cleveland, and which I know it'll come as a surprise to a few people, there is still a huge loyalty to those 3 very frustrating, annoying football, baseball, and basketball teams that we have. Columbia, whose sports track record somehow or other rivals Cleveland's. I don't know if there is a worse combination than being a Columbia and Cleveland fan. Earl, you're Cleveland and Northwestern, maybe that, but the Northwestern's had some success, so it's not the easiest thing in the world. Also then into my work years, people from Leslie from Teleprompter and several people from Showtime, where I spent the bulk of my work career, and a number of friends, theater friends, friends that I've met through some of the others of you in the room, and I just so much relish all of you being here tonight. There's a song you're going to hear in the show a little bit later called Here's to Us, and if I had brought a drink up with me, I'd say right now, here's to all of us. I'd love to, thank you. Well, I'd love to go around the room and talk about everybody. We have to get the show going. Byron has to be home by 10 o'clock, and he's already late, and he's already counting how much sleep he'll be missing. And he's got his big COPD gala, which is a great cause to support next week. But I do want to acknowledge the people that are in from out of town. It starts here at the family table. I told my brother Jerry that I was going to say this, but some people had started to wonder, is Jerry real, or is he a figment of your imagination? One of those made-up friends or brothers? He is real, and he is here tonight with his wife, Jo, and they are in from West Virginia, where they just moved into a new house. I'm so thrilled that he and Jo have joined us tonight. Jerry and I think he wouldn't disagree with this statement, are not always alike in many areas. But I think there are two things we agree very strongly about, and that's the importance of family and family connections. And the other thing is he remains equally loyal to the Cleveland sports teams, and when I find I trade emails or conversations with him, other than one or two of the people at this table who will remain nameless, Rick Lycan, I find Jerry is in agreement with me on everything, just about. Also here tonight, Jerry and Jo have two fantastic daughters, my two nieces. One of them had just moved to Milwaukee, Hannah, and so she and her family couldn't make it in. But my niece Rachel is here with her husband George. Rachel and George live in Virginia and are fantastic hosts for my visits down there. I'll be going down in a week for Thanksgiving and the holiday visits, and love spending time with them and the family. And I even tolerate the fact that she married somebody from, stay seated, guys, Pittsburgh, a Steeler fan. But in fairness, George, and there is one other Steeler fan, and we'll get to him in a moment, but George is very kind to the Cleveland teams. He roots for them as long as they're not playing. He even roots for the Browns when they're not playing. And I actually got a text during the Baltimore game where he and JT were cheering for the Browns in the game against Baltimore a few weeks ago that we did win. I don't think we've won since then, but that's beside the point. So thank you for coming. I mentioned two people that I've known 60 plus years. Jerry is one. He is 60-ish. The other is my cousin Linda, and she is here with her husband Bob, Linda and Bob Katz. Linda is about the only person left that I have known my entire life. And I am so thrilled that she is here with us tonight. Special relationship with Linda and Bob and their family, her mother and father, always very close with all of us. Their son, Doug, has a great restaurant that some of you have been to at Shaker Square called Fire. But I am so pleased they're here. One, Linda and Bob's story. Linda is not a big football fan, but she has been to maybe one football game. And I was with her and Bob on December 27th, 1964, when the Cleveland Browns upset the Baltimore Colts 27-0 to win the NFL championship. Little did we youngsters at the time know that we would wait 52 years for another one. And thank goodness LeBron and the Cavs gave us that 2 years ago. Linda has not been to a football game since then, I don't believe. We may need to get her back. She and Bob were newly engaged at the time, and I don't know how much attention they paid to the football game, but they brought great luck to it, so we're glad to have you here. JT and Diana Fiore are good friends of George and Rachel's in Virginia. JT, also a Pittsburgh person and a fan, but they have been nice enough to welcome me into their home at holiday visits when I'm visiting George and Rachel, have treated me very, very nicely, never been too nasty about the Cleveland stuff. And I am glad to finally be in a situation where there are more Browns fans in the room than Steeler fans. George's son, Ethan, who is 13 years old, and he's about 6'10", literally. And the first words I think he learned are "Browns suck," but I don't know where he got that. But
that was natural.
Yeah. But anyway, I know all of you Cleveland people will treat them as kindly as they do treat me. So, but they're not the. Speaking of Clevelanders, this terrific table over here is all Cleveland fans, and 5 of them have come in from out of town. My 3 high school classmates, Shaker Heights class of '66, Jeff Oster, John Lewis, and Rick Lycan. Rick is here with his wife, Susan, the boss, as he often puts it. Rick and I, as I've obviously implied, have debated sports for many, 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 many years. And we'll stop there. John is here from Boston with his wife, Ruth. Jeff, his wife, decided she couldn't make it tonight, but allowed him to come. Jeff and John were teammates of mine, and I hope I can get all these words correct at this point in time, in the 1968 Shaker Slow Pitch Softball Championship team. The name of the team was Jello, and each of us wore a flavor on our back. I was orange. I said I was orange.
No, you were up, but what was I? I was prune.
Don't invite him next time.
Also at the table is Steve Fennig, who came in from Western Massachusetts. Steve, I don't know how to describe him from a Cleveland point of view. He is the most ardent, emotional Cleveland fan. Look at this 50 emails sent during a Browns game, maybe 80, and he is not from Cleveland. No affiliation with Cleveland. Just took his kids to their first Browns game this past weekend. A glutton for punishment, indeed. Dave and Marcia Shaw are in from Wisconsin. Glad to have them. Dave was a senior at Columbia and up doing radio broadcasts, which I really wanted to do and was eventually able to do in a few years later. And he and Marcia come into New York a few times a year, and we always have a great time together and a great dinner together, and so glad they can make it. And finally, David Sokolow, my Columbia class of 70 classmate. We met in our freshman year, CC in Humanities, Dick Grieman and Marshall Schatz, right? God, the absurdly insignificant facts we remember. Asked me about something yesterday, that's a whole different story. David also has a Cleveland tie. His wife, Toby, is a Cleveland Heights High School graduate, so he straddles the Columbia and Cleveland relationship. On to the show. This is, I like to call it the third in a trilogy of shows. Hopefully it won't be as bad as some of the other trilogies are. I actually think it'll be quite the reverse. Each show has gotten a little more ambitious, and tonight our ambitions have really grown. As usual, I chose the songs, and most of them are insignificant, but I think they're all terrific songs that hopefully you'll enjoy hearing and learning about and agree with. A lot of them are songs that really speak to me in some way or another, relate to the human condition. Some of them that don't speak to me, I hope will at least speak to you. And some of them are just terrific melodies with good lyrics. Nothing's particularly meaningful about them, but songs that I've grown to love and to appreciate. What happens after I pick the songs and have a few thoughts in terms of medleys and ideas with it, I turn it all over to the professionals. And they have done, from everything I have heard and I expect, a fantastic job. And we couldn't have gotten to this point without Michael Lowney, our lead singer, who did the show 5 years ago. Michael who is branched out into a cabaret career with some very successful performances at Feinstein's 54 Below in the last couple of years, has brought in just an incredible group of talented Broadway and cabaret people in New York, starting with Joey Chansey, our fabulous musical director, who Leslie mentioned. Joey and Michael then have molded the show and taken these crazy songs I came up with and somehow are making it work into a show that I hope you will love and enjoy today. And not only that, they have brought in, and Michael has brought in, 3 other performers to join him. So you're going to see 4 performers on stage today, all of them with either Broadway or cabaret backgrounds in New York. And Michael will introduce you to them and tell you all about them. So I think the song list has been handed out. It is showtime. And without further ado, let me turn it over to Joey and to Michael. And thank you all so much. I am so amazed that you have braved the rain, come from out of town, and enjoy the show.